To quote the American poetess Maya Angelou, I've come to learn that people will often forget what you've said. People will sometimes forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. Dr. Martin Luther King said, "The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy." Well, June the 23rd, 2016, I and many Londoners like myself became an irrelevance. Ever since Independence Day 2016, we became the people that time forgot. We are the London leavers. Yes. Sadiq Khan and others tell us that London is the Remain capital of the UK, and of course, we gracefully accept that 60% of Londoners voted to remain. But equally, we want it known that 40% of us voted to leave. And we have remained silent up to now. But we must not remain silent any longer. Let me remind you, Mr. Khan, 1.3 million Londoners voted for you to become mayor. 1.5 million Londoners voted to leave the EU. Under your watch, London has become a less safe place to live and raise a family. Over 50 Londoners fatally stabbed since the start of the year, and rising daily. 1,296 stabbings this year. Mr. Mayor, you have failed Londoners. As a Democrats and Veterans Party spokesman for cities, urban communities and sport, I will continue to champion the causes of people, as I've done for over 30 years in London. Because I believe in common sense politics that truly has the maturity to balance idealism and realism, and acknowledge that the other side may just have some good points. It is my contention that too many politicians are being paid more and more to stand for less and less. And until politicians see their own self-interest as inextricably linked to the interest of the electorate, we will never have a fairer society. My coaching academy will always focus on empowering our young to take control of their circumstance, rather than becoming victims of circumstance, by raising levels of aspiration and seeing more in them than they even see in themselves. However, I recognize that fundamental changes in society have led many of our young to experience low self-esteem, lack confidence, possess limited social skills, and have a belief that there is little hope for the future. And it is this that often leads to a complete downward spiral of behavioral problems, academic and social disengagement. Through the development of a targeted veterans community mentoring program, we will continue to address these root causes by nurturing in our young people a healthy sense of identity and assist them in feeling good about themselves. And who better to pass on those life skills than our military veterans, who have been at the coalface of many conflicts. This will, I believe, have a positive impact on the current knife and gun crime epidemic. I firmly believe that the development of a community is influenced by the educational opportunities provided to its members. Yes, for over 30 years, I've been an advocate for local causes within North and East London, and I have witnessed what appears to be a rise in educational apartheid. Sad as I am to say this, but too many of our schools are subconsciously, institutionally racist. There is not a level playing field while dealing with behaviour. Too many black boys are excluded. Too many black boys' natural actions are viewed as aggressive, and the interventions used are far more debilitating than those used for their counterparts. And if you disagree, please take a look at the prison population in relation to the percentage of black men in this country. Black men make up approximately 3% of the population, but 11% of the prison population. It isn't probably, and it isn't, I know, politically correct remark, but it is my contention that youth disillusionment, social, economic and moral decline, alongside poverty and social inequality, are the breeding grounds for crime. Successive administrations have claimed to be tough on the causes of crime, but over the last 15 years, violent crime has soared. More importantly, the fear of crime has increased. Some of this fear has been fueled by members of the press, but the media is reticent about the real issues. The reality is that most victims of crime are not old-age pensioners imprisoned on sink estates. They are young men aged between 14 to 21. This group is more likely to be assaulted, robbed and attacked than any other group. And in this spiraling cycle, victim often becomes perpetrator. The innocent are caught in the crossfire and become the wrong people in the wrong place at the wrong time. And often it is they who pay the ultimate price. And there are too many of these young men and women injured and dying on our streets. It appears that nobody in central or local government really cares. Is not the life of every child, man or woman, of equal value? If the children being killed were from more affluent, wealthy, leafy boroughs, would there be more action to address the underlying problems? I feel there just may be. But because these are poor people killing other poor people, and more poignantly, black boys killing black boys, nobody seems to care. But I care, and I've cared all my life. The MPs and the Mayor of London need to protect the lives of Londoners. And this is all the more important when the people are poor and economically disadvantaged. They need to have a shield of steel and exercise it in the defense of those without the power to have their own shield. And this has not happened. Too many administrations have been hampered by their own political machinery and only speak what is politically correct. We don't need political correctness if it means more young people being injured and dying on our streets. What we need is long-term solutions based on the courage to work with all sections of our community and all administrative bodies to tackle crime and the causes of crime. Central and local government must engage at grassroots level with our young people. We must offer alternatives and role models that will inspire young people and encourage them to turn their back on so-called gangster culture that only makes them prisoners to the street. What you must understand is this fake culture is an insidious and destructive cultural phenomenon. It is not merely an alternative counterculture that people can adopt and put down and remain untouched by its corruption. No, this culture leaves deep scars on those who participate in it. The ensuing destruction of mind, body and spirit will not just be reflected in rising crime, but also in the annihilation of self. And the true personality of our young and their potential is stifled in the saggy pants and fake testosterone of a bankrupt cultural lifestyle. a lifestyle that all too easily leads to prison, death, or insanity. And this is the greatest crime of all. To leave behind the potential of this creative and imaginative section of our society and allow their assets to be claimed and liquefied and poured into the drain of despair is something that political parties have allowed to take place on their watch. I will, however, continue to seek long-term sustainable solutions in the prevention of these crimes as part of a social mobility program, which would include, but not limited to, relaunching of sustainable community centres. Work in partnership with schools and colleges, making their space community hubs for evening use. The mobilisation of and support of the third sector, working with charities that specifically work with young people in a mentoring capacity. I'd promote the private sponsorship of police community support officers and a community entrepreneur development program that brings back into use empty council-owned buildings and factories as work units with negotiated rents for prospective community entrepreneurs. We need to create a proactive system that does not only react to failure, but rewards and recognises success. We must build trust in our young people because they are smart. They are armed with a vast array of information, knowledge, and equipped with the technology and know-how to help build and sustain our communities. We offer them amenities to build their knowledge, but at the same time, do not give them boundaries. What we often have today are not necessarily bad youth, but bored ones. So the need to create local activities is paramount. For example, I will promote a network community card allowing 14 to 21-year-olds free use of council-run gyms and free cinema entry during off-peak hours and concessionary tickets at local Premier League football clubs and events. But crime must not pay. Sentencing for these crimes should have two purposes or primary goals. A, deterrent for others from committing offences, and B, incapacitate offenders for a socially acceptable period of time. Which leads us to another question. Is rehabilitation reducing reoffending rates, or do we need to move from rehabilitation to, yes, retribution, incapacitation, and general deterrence? Our current system is broken, and the perpetrators of these crimes no longer respect our judicial system or rule of law, and the British public are fully aware of this. Prison or custodial sentencing is no longer a deterrent. In fact, I'm reliably informed it is often viewed as a great way of lying low for a period of time while often conducting business from the apparent safety of a prison cell. It is also seen for the younger and upwardly mobile criminals as a distinct badge of honour, yes, a form of earning your stripes. Once sentenced, not only should the sentence be punitive, but it must be served in a more restrictive environment. Yes, outside of their locality, a minimum of 50 to 100 miles away. Increased solitary confinement. No use of facilities such as TV or radio. And certainly no access to mobile phones. Although books on education would be permitted. If we are to see changes that we deserve, there has to be a new way. What we have witnessed since the referendum is the death of representational democracy. The sort of democracy we've practiced in the UK today. But there is hope. A light at the end of the tunnel. A new way. Something clean, something honest, something transparent and something fair, and that is direct democracy, the purest form of democracy known to man. And to be part of this new way, this new vision, join us, the Democrats and veterans, today by simply logging onto the dvparty.uk and click join. And I repeat, www.dvparty.uk and click join and be part of the solution. I look forward to welcoming you to a bright, exciting future where your thoughts can become our words, and those words our policies, and those policies our actions, and those actions our ultimate destiny.